Alright, third time I'm trying to record this so you can actually see what the heck I'm doing without computer freezing. But I'm just running you through how the day and night light stuff is sort of set up in the scene. So we have our main daylight, which is shining from the left coming into the right. And then our night light, which is coming from the right and shining to the left. I've also gone through, and I'll just talk about the daylight, I guess, since I'm here. So I made my render view uber itty bitty tiny, because I'm really, really tired of re-recording this. No, because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, and it seems like smaller areas work better. So hopefully this will work. But yeah, so this is basically our day scene. I'd have another little fill light that's just sort of chilling over here in a corner. And for some, I've done something weird with my light linking here because of how I set up the original scene, and I've just have been too lazy to fix it, so I'm just going to refresh the render view. And render from camera 1, please. And you can see that now it is actually sort of doing something less appalling looking. But I do just this little fill light just sort of like hanging out over here, and it's basically simulating either a second window or sort of aggressive bounce light from this wall here. And you may be wondering, like, why do I have this wall? If I'm using area lights, it's not really doing anything for, blocking out light or anything like that. It's just sort of there. The reason that I have that wall, and I'll turn off my fill light really quick because it'll be more obvious, but the reason that I have this wall in here is it's a super subtle difference, but basically what this is doing is providing bounce light for the global illumination in the scene. So if we look at, basically this is, again, like with a wall, I've just moved it really close. This is going to be a little bit brighter than it will be in right now. Wait, okay, so this, and then I'll hide that, and then it gets like a tiny bit darker, and it's a really subtle difference, but it does, not having this wall here, is darkening this a little bit because there's no ability for bounce light to come back. There's nothing for it to bounce off of, there's no wall there. That's literally the only reason I added it. I was like, I do not like how dark this corner is, let me try adding a wall and seeing if that helped. It did help a little bit, but not enough, or not as much as I wanted. So I went back and I added a. That's why I have that extra little fill light just hanging out in there. So that's the rationale behind that.
Hey.
Let's see, where am I going? Take a look really quick at the night lights. And all right, so that should be all my night light stuff. All right. So here's my night lights. This is without the sort of main. The main light here, which is blue. It's just a little bit easier to show you what I'm talking about. So I've set up these, in addition to that main blue light, I have these two weird lights here that are basically just exist for the sole purpose of providing a tiny bit of bounce light and also lighting the daggers a little bit more. And the reason that there's two is I, for some reason, decided that I was like, cool, I would like some shinier lights on the specular, or what am I saying, sorry. I would like shinier lights on the daggers themselves. I don't feel like going into my light linking menu. So what I did, and let me make these two very obviously different colors so it's more obvious what's happening. That's not obvious. Oof, that looks awful. It's like a glowing table of terror. But what I've done basically is, for this horrible green light, I've turned the specular all the way down under visibility. And what that's doing is just saying, hey, this light doesn't affect, shiny stuff, basically. And since the only shiny things in the scene are these daggers and this little light tray, turning the setting all the way down on these more or less kind of acts as like cheap light linking in this instance. For this little second light, I've done the opposite, where I've turned left specular on and then turned everything else off. So if I go ahead and I make this thing some really weird color, like bright purple, oof, so ugly. You can see that that's pretty much only affecting the shiny stuff. And this, there is actually like some of this little light from this purple light coming into the shine on the base of the candle holder thing. And that's, again, this is not true light linking, this is just me sort of cheating things like a weirdo. If I decided I wanted a little bit of this purple light to come in on the diffuse or anything else, I could add this in this case just kind of making it blown out because my lights are extremely overexposed. But I could add that in there and then it would sort of start affecting the rest of the background. Alright, so that might be a little more obvious. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my diffuse a little bit higher and you can see it's sort of very slowly brightening that area. In this case, the purple and the green seem to be reacting oddly and making sort of white when they combine, but that's basically how and why I set this up the way I did. I just wanted a little bit of extra pop on the daggers themselves.